The head coach for New Mexico is named Broncos. They are the Broncos. They played Montana State and got upset 35-31. No, Broncos no more, I guess. That's what you get for a clever name, but not the right decision. This is Down and Distant. Wednesday, August 28th, I got your college football 2024 preview. I'm Braden Slater, your host of this show. And let's jump right in. Week 0 got off to a crazy start. Florida State versus Georgia Tech. Yep, if you missed that alert, it's upset alert. I mean, EA Sports College Football prediction, their since nearly got this game right. Georgia Tech led majority of the game, but here comes Florida State in the fourth quarter to make it a ball game. EA had him winning the ball game, but Georgia Tech with the game-winning field goal to pull off this upset in Ireland. Yeah, here's the total comparison stats in this game. Georgia Tech had 336 yards, 146 yards passing. They ran the ball 109 yards. The rushing was pretty close, but I mean, Georgia Tech, that defense. Florida State couldn't run the ball at all. Hardly, there's no turnover. Georgia Tech did, or no, I'm sorry. Florida State did fumble the ball twice, but they got the ball back. Florida State did go for it a couple times on a fourth down. And here's your player of the game, Heisman watch now. Hayden King, he is the king of that game and likely the king of the ACC right now. Passed it for 69%, over 100 yards. Averaged 9 yards a play. 9 yards a play for passing. Wow. And then the Hawaii test, I mean, they were playing in pretty much a tropical storm. Man, things were blowing on the field. Beat Delaware State 35-14. And then SMU, their first year in the ACC, and now I know they're not playing, Nevada's not an ACC team, but let's see what SMU has their first game in the ACC. They were trailing majority of this game. They had to come back from behind to win this ball game. 29-24 over Nevada. Not a great start for the ACC. Florida State lost. SMU, I mean, is expected to be. I mean, SMU is projected, got some votes in the AP poll. But yeah, let's look at overrated and underrated for week 0. Is as I'm talking about SMU. SMU joining the ACC. They're overrated. Take them out of the ACC right away. They don't belong in the ACC. How do you nearly lose to Nevada? That is just crazy. Who does, I want to look up SMU's schedule because I got to look deeper into this. Who does SMU play next? I got to know. They play, Houston Christian. I think that they got that in the bag, possibly. Then they got BYU. Oh, they're basically got two Big 12. They might as well just join the Big 12. They got BYU and then TCU. Oh, and then they got Florida State. Oh, I'm sorry. You might beat Houston Christian next week, this Saturday. But you ain't beating BYU after that. You ain't beating TCU. Florida State definitely coming for revenge now after all that. Speaking of Florida State, Georgia Tech beat Florida State, and guess who helped beat them? Hayden King. Do not look at his stats, alright? The way he played was incredible. He had like a Heisman game. He was fighting for every yard. He would not go down. He is week 0's underrated, not just team, player. I mean, he helped Georgia Tech win that game. And I'm so excited to see how Georgia Tech plays the rest of this season. I didn't have high hopes about Georgia Tech this year, but I'm pulling up their schedule. They're in the ACC. The ACC pretty much wide open now with Florida State losing that game. They got Georgia State next. But before we talk into more college football, we got some NFL news for you. And yeah, so more Michigan, more Jim Harbaugh. I can't believe I'm still talking about Jim Harbaugh and Michigan sign stealing and cheating and illegal recruiting and all that. But here's some karma for them. In the preseason, as they were playing Dallas this week, most of the players, especially their starting quarterback, got stuck in the elevator. They had to call the fire department to help get them out of there. Yeah, that not some karma for Jim Harbaugh, though Jim Harbaugh wasn't in there, but what crazy. And CD Lamb got a new contract extension with Dallas. He's excited for it. And speaking of those two teams, Chargers, I think they were frustrated after getting stuck in the elevator. They end up beating the Cowboys 26-19. Remember, this is preseason, so it really doesn't mean much. And the Panthers get the good win over the Bills, 31-26. And yeah, I gotta say, that's probably gonna be the only win the Panthers gonna get this year. I'm being a little exaggerating that a little bit. They'll get a couple wins, but beating the Bills, yeah, that's not going to happen in the regular season. And the Commanders get a good win over the Patriots, 20-10. So that basically wraps up NFL preseason. They get the players get a little rest for 1 week, and then September 5th, it starts back up again. I'll talk more about that on American on Saturday, but college football starts this Saturday, or the official week 1 starts Thursday, actually, tomorrow. I got some big news for y'all. I got a lot of headlines, and I'm trying to fit them all in. I might move some to American on Saturday, but some big news from Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy is tired of his players begging for money, asking for money, and signing new NIL deals. That he's had it. He's completely banning in-season NIL deals. He's like, I don't want my players making any more money. I'm focused on football. Season's here. It's football time. Oh, and then 2 days later, they're like, hey, let's put QR codes on the back of our helmets, and fans can scan the QR codes and send those players money for NIL deals. What? Okay, and then Deion Sanders is getting really upset about a reporter giving him negative attitude, throwing negativity towards him. He's like, I'm out, you're banned, I don't want to talk to you anymore. What a crybaby. I am so excited for Colorado season to start, to see all that hype around him. And also, some breaking news this week. UConn has been planning on joining the Big 12 in all sports in the future. They're having talk with the Big 12. They're with other conferences as well, but the Big 12 is the main one they're talking to. But the Big 12 has actually, before I started recording this week's episode, they're not interested at the moment. So they're going to take their time, and we'll just see how this plays out. It probably won't be until next summer until we hear more about which conference UConn is going to join. And then the last news of the week, Miami, Ohio, is really mad at Alabama right now because they think they illegally recruited their kicker out of the transfer portal. So, Alabama's under fire about that. I'll have more stories about that on American on Saturday. But let's look at my rankings this week. This is really my preseason rankings. And, especially with all of the injuries that has pretty much happened in, like, the last month and then week 0. I made this rankings before August came around. So, it was back in, July when I finalized my rankings, so I might make some changes here. Kansas State at 25, SMU at 24. They did win, but I'm gonna move them out. I think Kansas State needs to be a little bit more higher now. NC State, I got them at 23. Texas A&M 22. Iowa's 21. I think I like where those are at. I think SMU and Kansas State, I need to switch them around a little bit. We'll see how week 1 goes. I got Kansas at 20. I'm feeling confident about that. Missouri is at 19. I might have them a little underrated, but they're in the SEC. We'll see how that goes. That's why I have them that low. 18 is Oklahoma State. We'll see how they do against South Dakota State. Tennessee, I got Tennessee at 17. Notre Dame at 16. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, why do you have Notre Dame that low? Again, I just want to see how the week 1 plays out. I know I might have some teams pretty low, and I might bump them up higher later on in the next couple of weeks. I just want to see how some of these teams, I don't have high hopes about them, but I've done it before where I put teams really high and they have a disappointing season. So we'll see how it goes. And then my next one, my top 15. I got Clemson at number 15. I don't really have high hopes about Clemson this year. Devil Sweet's got some work to do, especially if he's not doing trade portal. He's more focused on recruiting, but he's not doing that great job recruiting since Brett Venables left his defensive staff. I got Washington at 14. Yeah, they lost their head coach to Alabama. Michigan at 13. Yeah, they just won the national championship, but they don't have Jimbo they don't have Jimbo. Josh, whatever his name is. I can't even remember his name, but now, for some reason. But, yeah, and they can't steal signs anymore with Helmet Communications now. I got Miami at 12, Penn State is 11. Now, I feel like Miami and Penn State I have them a little high right now. So, I want to move them a little lower, but I like where I have Ole Miss in the top 10. I like my top 10 right now, except for Texas. They're without their 2 big running backs. You'll see where I put Texas here in a minute. But I got Ole Miss at 10. Utah at 9. Cam Rising is back this year. So Utah is going to be a real fun team to watch in the Big 12. LSU is going to be a really good one. Now, they don't have their quarterback they had last year, but they are getting better. They are slowly getting better. They probably won't. Their offense is going to take some use to it the first couple games, but I got them at 8. I got Florida State at number 7. Yeah, they're lost. They're going to be dropping out. I got Oklahoma at 8. At 6. I got Oklahoma at 6. And then Alabama, I got them at 5. I got Oregon at 4. I really like the way Oregon is playing. Dylan Gabriel looks like an amazing quarterback coming in. Really fits in with the Oregon Ducks program. I got Georgia at 3. Ohio State at 2. And Texas at 1. Yes, I am Oklahoma biased, and I got Texas at 1. That is how good of a roster and how scared I am at Texas right now. They are that good. But again, I made my rankings before fall injury, before practices, injuries started happening, and Texas losing their 2 top running backs, really. For the season, I got Texas dropping out of the top 10 now, so possibly in next week, Texas probably very likely won't be in my top 5, but we'll see how they play against Colorado State. Alright, let's look at my season prediction. Who's going to win each conference? I have, I did have Florida. No, I'm kidding. I actually do have Miami winning the ACC, and I made this before the Florida State game. So, I really like it now. I really was back and forth between Florida State and Miami all off season long, but I was like, I'm doing Miami just to surprise some people. In the Big 12, I was going back and forth between Utah and Oklahoma State. I'm starting with Oklahoma State. I really like the way that Mike Gundy is really focusing on his players right now in football. He's a football man. I think he gets it done now that OU and Texas are out this time. He did take his team to the Big 12 championship last year, although they got destroyed to Texas. In the Big 10, former Pac-12 team is not winning the Big 10 this year. Not at all. First year in the Big 10, they're going to be in for a rude awakening against Ohio State, Michigan, even Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin. Yeah, they're all going to get in a tough time. Give me Ohio State winning the Big 10. And the SEC, you could just pick any one of them except for Vanderbilt and, maybe Mississippi State to win the SEC. And, you would have no complaints. But I'm going to be a little curious here and a little Gotcha. I'm not picking Georgia. I'm not picking Alabama, nor Texas or Oklahoma. I'll go with Ole Miss. I like what Lane Kiffin's doing. I liked his hype around his team. He's doing a great job with his program. He's slowly building it. I mean, he's got a lot of hype. His ego is high, but he's a team player, and I like it. Yeah, I got Ole Miss winning the SEC, and based off of that, this is what my playoffs would look like. It definitely will not look like after week 0 into Minstry. It definitely will not look like this now. Yeah. I mean, I did have Texas at 1, but yeah, put Ole Miss at 1 now. Put Ole Miss at oh, I'm putting Ohio State at 2 now. Ole Miss is Ohio State at 1, Ole Miss at 2. Again, I'm back and forth between Ohio State and Utah. I mean, I do have, when I made my rankings, I did have Utah as the higher rank, but I think I might put Oklahoma State at 4, Miami at 3, and we'll just see. James Madison, I really like the way James Madison is the best group of 5 team right now. Seriously, it's like every couple weeks, I always make changes to my rankings. I just need to watch football. At some point in August, early August, like, I just want to watch football. I need to stop making changes, and we'll see how the first couple weeks goes, and then I'll start really going into my playoff prediction. But, yeah, this is what I think the playoff will look like back in July. Yeah, it is going to be quite a football season, and I can't wait to get this started. Look at these matchups, too. Penn State and Oregon, Ole Miss and Alabama. Some of these are already conference games. Georgia and Oklahoma. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing making these polls, but it definitely changed next week. But let's take a look at Kansas' schedule. Again, new thing I'm doing this year is I'm doing local. I'm based in Oklahoma, so I'm gonna really do Oklahoma schools and really the borderlines. Kansas is going to be one of our teams we're going to be focusing in on. And they got a game tomorrow, 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus against Lindsey Wood. They went 9-4 last year. What a great season for Kansas. 9-4 in the Big 12 with Oklahoma and Texas in it. Now they're out. Kansas is looking to be a favorite in the Big 12 now. I mean, but you can even throw Kansas State as a chance to win the Big 12. Any team, I think, can win the Big 12, really. But, yeah, and they got their top quarterback back from last year that really was pulling up the big upset for Kansas. He's back this year. Boy, Kansas is going to be unstoppable. But, and guess what? Here's their final score for their bowl game last year. Beating UNLV 49-36. Yeah, no defense whatsoever, but Kansas sure does have the offense. I'll show you that. But if they want to win in the Big 12, they got to play a lot better defense. Tulsa, another school in Oklahoma that we'll be looking out for. They're also playing tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, ESPN Plus against Northwestern State. Yeah, first time I've ever heard about that school. Yeah, but Tulsa didn't have that great of a year, despite having a chance at the American Conference in 2022. But they went 4-8 last year. But their top safety, Oliver, is staying for his senior year. He had 4 interceptions last year. So keep an eye on him. He's going to be a defensive playmaker for Tulsa this season. And I'm not expecting Tulsa to be in the running to win the American Conference, but I think that they can pull an upset or two, definitely in the American Conference. And the last team, we got a Friday night. Oh yeah, I got to talk about their last game. Their last game. They didn't go to a bowl game. The last game of the regular season, they did beat Eastern Carolina, so they did end their season in a win, 29-7. All right. Now I'm going to the Sooners. Yeah, Friday night. This is going to be a big one. Our first game in the SEC. Well, part of the SEC, not in I mean, it's not an SEC opponent yet. They're number 16 in the AP poll. 6 o'clock on Friday, ESPN. They moved it to a Friday mainly so they can get a national spotlight their first game, because playing a team like Temple on a Saturday with so many good games on Saturday, it may have been on ESPN Plus or the SEC network. Yeah, they want to make sure they're on a big network. Anyway, Oklahoma went 10-3 last year in the Big 12. I mean, 10-win season is a win, I gotta say, but they had some pretty disappointing losses. Probably should have went to the Big 12 championship game, but yeah, but now they're in. They got their lead linebacker Danny Stutsman back for his senior year. Their defense looks top. Billy Bowman is great. I mean, I don't know what, but I'm really excited for Oklahoma's defense than anything else. And they got Jackson Arnold, top QB coming out of Texas. It's going to be his first year that he's starting. But let's talk about Danny Stutsman real quick. Look at his stats from last year. He almost broke 100 tackles. I mean, he knocked down 8 passes. I mean, look at that stats. Boy. And then Jackson Arnold, I mean, even though they did lose their bowl game, Jackson Arnold had a not that bad of a game in the bowl game against Arizona, and over 300 yards. His longest pass, 63 yards. He got 4 touchdowns, and I mean, he threw 3 interceptions. But I mean, young quarterback, freshman quarterback, he's gonna make his mistakes coming into the season. I think he'll play better now. I think he'll probably still make young mistakes in the beginning of the season, but I think we're gonna see him protecting the ball a lot more now, and I'm really looking forward to how he takes over the SEC. He's got a deep wide receiver room, so and he's got a good Sawchuk running back to back him up. So I mean, their running back coach, DeMarco Murray, has been suspended for 1 game for a recruiting violation. So, that was that. Alright, let's check out going around the network here on Fantastic Sports. Monday is Learport Podcast every other week at 6. And this show, Down and Distant, will be every other Wednesday at 6. And then when basketball season comes back around, Hardwood Hoops No More. It's now called Inside the Paint. I like that name a lot better, considering most for my graphics I have for it is Inside the Paint. And then, like always, our flagship show, American Game Day, be on every Saturday at 10 a.m. through the football season and basketball season. And if you haven't already, check out our website or Twitter for the latest, or X, whatever they call it now, for the latest news, scores, stats, etc. I need to change that QR code to Twitter. I'll really update X more often. Alright, that's what's going around the network here on Fantastic Sports. Alright, we got some football tomorrow night. Yeah. I have no idea what team that is on the left, but they're playing NC State. NC State number 24 in the AP poll. 6 o'clock on the ACC network. And then on ESPN Plus. I've heard of that team, but I don't remember their name. But yeah, Toledo, gonna be a good matchup, 6:30 ESPN Plus. I know they aren't big matchups, but hey, football's football. And it's I think we're still in between week 0 and week 1. Anyway, we got football for 5 straight days starting tomorrow. Starting with these games. So I'm really looking forward to these games. And then, if you need more football to watch at the same time, so look, SEC Network tomorrow. It's Marquette State versus Missouri. They're 11. And then we got North Carolina, Mac Brown and his team. On the road to Minnesota, 7 o'clock on Fox. EA Sports is actually picking Minnesota to win that game. Not so fast I'm going Mac Brown's team, North Carolina. North Carolina is for sure winning, not for sure. I mean, I'm confident that they're gonna win that game. On the road, it's tough too, heading to the Big Ten team. But I think NC State will get that win. Potentially, if they win that game, I think they have a chance to be ranked. And then North Dakota State is going to. Going to Colorado. Yeah, the hype team of college football. 7 o'clock ESPN. Yeah, getting ESPN spotlight once again. I'm going North Dakota State to win. I think they can pull off this upset. They've been at the top of the FCS for years. They've won their national championships so many times I've lost track. But Coastal Carolina and Jacksonville State. I mean, EA Sports going Coastal Carolina. I like Jacksonville State. I think this is their second year in the FBS. I really like the way that they played last year. I think this will be their year. And the Friday night games. FAU, Florida Atlanta is going to Michigan State on the Big Ten Network, 6 o'clock. Going to be a good one. I think Florida Atlanta will give Michigan State a hard time at first, but I think Michigan State will get the win. We'll take over in the second half, but give me TCU. EA Sports is agreeing with me on this one finally. 9:30 ESPN Friday against Stanford, and Stanford's now in the ACC now. Can you believe that? Yeah, Stanford is in the ACC. Okay, well, let's look at some Saturday game. Getting an early look. I'm not making any predictions for Saturday. You just have to wait until American Game Day for those predictions. But at 1 o'clock on Saturday, South Dakota State. Yeah. We got North Dakota State, and now we got South Dakota State. Both of them have been top of the FCS. Both of them are now in the FBS. Oklahoma State is number 17 now. They're a football program, according to Mike Gundy. I think that they'll get this win, although South Dakota State, don't sleep on them. They'll get them a run for their money. And then to the ACC and SEC we go. A big-time rivalry to start off the season. 2:30 ABC. Miami is number 19 right now. I'm surprised that might be a little high for them. But I really like where AP's head at. I think Miami might get this win on the road. But I don't know. I might jinxing you or don't want to jinx anything or give you a heads up, a hint for what I'm doing on Saturday. And then Notre Dame and Texas A&M. That's going to be one of the big games. And also, our game of the week, we're going to Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia isn't home, but the game is in Georgia. First game early on, right after game day. Clemson versus Georgia. This is going to be a big one because not only is Georgia number 1, but it really gets a chance to look at Dabo Swinney recruiting only team, Clemson. I mean, I really don't think Clemson done any good recruiting. I mean, he's recruiting well in the ACC, but compared to the Big Ten, the SEC, Clemson's going to have a hard time. I think ranked number 14 is a little high, but we'll see. They can pull off that upset. Wow. Just wow. All right. Thank you all for watching. Our next Down and Distance episode will be September 4th. I'll see you all on American Game Day on Saturday.